Hello and welcome to the Triple V podcast with me, Dan.
And me, Matt.
It's time to crack open a can. Belly of
And
that.
spill the tea.
How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Dan. It's a long time no see, but yeah, it's good. I'm happy to be back. So yeah, how are you?
Yeah, me too. I'm okay. Currently, obviously, we're all in lockdown. It's been nice and fun, but yeah, not too bad. It's been a long time since we've done this, but we'll go on to that later. Do you want to address the elephant in the room?
Yeah. So I mean, it's literally been everywhere, but I do think we have to mention the George Floyd incident and the ensuing protests. It's something that I think everyone should be talking about, and everyone should be thinking about their own responsibility in the roles and the systems. So I'll just give a bit of context. On the 25th of May, George Floyd was murdered by a man called Derek Chauvin. I'm not sure if I've said his name right, but he was a white police officer who, in the process of arrest, knelt on his neck and suffocated him. And there were huge protests for his arrest and the charging of his colleagues as well. And his death sparked a continuing period of protest in America and I guess globally as well, in terms of support for the Black Lives Matter movement, because his death highlighted the horrific injustice and racist institutions in America. And I guess it's opened that discussion up to the wider world as well, because a lot of people are looking at their own countries and their own situation.
Yeah.
And I think it is important that we consider the UK's own issues in terms of this, because Britain is complicit in systemic racism. It's a country born out of colonialism, slavery, and prejudice. The thing that got me the other day was there's going to be a protest in Newcastle for the Black Lives Matter movement, and the street that is on is named after James Erasmus Blackett, whose fortune was made off the slave trade.
Yeah.
It just shows how far-reaching it is in British society.
Yeah, totally. Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, some of the facts and figures that I've seen, for example, in 2019, a BAME person was 40% more likely to be stopped and searched by the police in Britain. And there's a huge BAME attainment gap in education. I think only 1% of professors in the UK are black. And there's so many individual cases as well that people are starting to talk about now, but it really reflects how there is such institutionalized racism in Britain. And I think we all have a responsibility to look at ourselves and think, what can we do as part of like educating ourselves and reading more about it and challenging racism and challenging institutions and going to protests and stuff like that. So I don't know, I guess just I thought we needed to just say it and be clear. Obviously we definitely support the Black Lives Matter movement. But yeah, it's been a rough few weeks really for just the whole situation.
Well, yeah, well, seemingly for a long time.
Yeah,
yeah,
obviously.
it's. I mean, just the videos that have been put around on Twitter and whatnot. It's really difficult because in one sense we need to learn as much as we can about what's been happening, what's not been uncovered. Just the systemic and widespread experience of people who, not just in America but across Europe and within our own country, and it's, and also at the same time you want to do something productive as well, and it's been difficult really. I'm not on Twitter, and a lot of the discussions have been on Twitter, and a lot of the debates and the educational information. But I just seeing on Facebook, I've seen quite a lot. So yeah, it's definitely been it's been eye-opening for, I think, a lot of people, including myself, who didn't realize quite how bad it was, and it is, and will continue to be bad unless there is definite and meaningful change within America and Europe and the wider world. We can't be under the illusion that somehow racism is not present and alive in the 21st century. It really is. And I think just encourage all our listeners to basically check out as much literature, as much articles, the debates, really clue yourself up and learn how to get involved and how to improve the world for the better, because this can't go on.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking we could maybe put a few petition links and educational pages and donation links in the section underneath the video on YouTube, just so if you can donate a bit of money or sign a petition and read about it. Education is so important in this. So
Yeah, entirely. Yeah, I totally agree. Anyway, thank you for covering that. I think it's
that's all right.
important that we mentioned it.
Definitely.
So right, I've opened a bottle of beer. I've got an amber ale here from a local brewery.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. So what have you got? So you got a little can there?
I've gone quite posh. I've got a Brewdog Pale Ale.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
It's really nice. So refreshing. I'm really enjoying it.
And that's a vegan pale ale as well.
It is. It's even marked vegan. You know,
Even
that's
marked
the sort of
vegan.
quality we expect from Brewdog.
Quality company.
I mean, our friend has a share. The editor of the podcast has a share in Brewdog. How cool is that?
Very cool. Have we not got two friends? Doesn't Ash Openshaw also have a share?
He might. Does he? Oh, I'm sorry, Ash, if I've done you a disservice there.
I don't know. I feel like he might. I think like he's mentioned it at one point, but I'm not. Don't like quote me on that.
I won't. But
hopefully you'll listen to the video. But
they bought shares at particularly bad times, given that basically the pubs have closed since he bought a share, and they're not making any money.
But people are like buying drinks for home, aren't they? So I think more people probably drink BrewDog at home than they do at pubs. I don't know, like probably
potentially,
yeah. But great brewery, like they do so many great beers, and the shop not the shop, the bar in Birmingham, the BrewDog bar, so good. Like it's just so nice, and some of the beers they serve are brilliant.
We went there for my birthday, didn't we? I think
we did. Yeah, it was great fun. Yeah, that was good. Well, that was a very good day. Went to what was the vegan place called again?
Baha. If you're a vegan and in the Birmingham area, would recommend Baha. The cocktails at the bar are also very nice. I had an amazing one. It lit on fire.
The cocktails are amazing. Yeah,
it blew my mind. It really did.
I got slightly bullied by the guy behind the bar because I couldn't pronounce the name of the cocktail. It's a city in Mexico, and I couldn't quite say couldn't quite say it properly.
And you can have a go at saying it now.
I can't remember what the city was called, but I don't embarrass myself further. But it was like everyone around me knew how to say it, and I couldn't quite master how to say it. And yeah, he was like, and just bullying ensued. But apart from that, it was quite nice.
That's good.
I had banana blossom for the first time. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's a nice place. If you are vegan and interested, I would recommend. I don't imagine that there are many listeners out there who are going to be, oh, lovely. I didn't realize that there's a vegan restaurant in Birmingham. Now we'll go to that. But, you know, every little helps. Support local businesses.
I mean, yeah, considering like now most of our friends are probably never going to ever return to Birmingham again. It's probably bad timing. But,
don't say that, Dan. That's very
3 years
sad.
Birmingham, that's enough, right? But have you had any kind of standout moments in lockdown or not?
I think the standout moments have mostly been on Zoom, which is a bit sad, but it's true. We've done a few good quizzes, haven't we, Dan? Some generally
we
nice
have, yeah. There's been some great stuff, yeah.
What about you? Have you had any particularly good moments?
Well, we had a house awards. So there's 8 people who live in our house, and we had an award ceremony, and it's absolutely brilliant. It was run by the editor of this podcast, Jamie, and it was great fun. It's his birthday as well, so happy birthday for then.
Happy birthday, yeah.
And yeah, it was great fun. We've had several quizzes. We had a brilliant Zoom chat when we finished our history degree on whatever date it was in May. Was it the 15th of May or something? I can't remember. I don't really want to remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it that long ago now? Oh my God.
I think so, yeah. And
That's
we had
crazy.
As soon as we finished, we had a Zoom chat, and I demolished a bottle of Prosecco during the Zoom chat. and it was a very, very good day.
You had a lot of drinks that day, didn't you, Dan? A lot of drinks.
I had lots. I had I had quite a few drinks about 11 o'clock when I finished, and then I went to sleep for a bit, and then I had a few more drinks when I got back up, and then I joined my home friends for a Zoom chat as well. But yeah, it was good fun, very good fun.
That sounds like a great day, to be fair.
It was good fun. It was a good, yeah, it's a good day. And like I was discussing with some of my home friends, like we've actually quite enjoyed like having kind of like the virtual pubs, but obviously nothing compared to like real life. But it's still been quite nice to kind of get on the line and kind of talk and whatnot. And we've actually had one friend who like we haven't seen in like loads and loads of years, but like he doesn't really go out that much, but like he wants to join the Zoom chats for some reason. So it's been quite nice.
Oh, that's really nice.
I haven't kind of spoken to him for a long time. So, but no, it's been all right. Yeah.
That's good. I think we also did a Eurovision night.
Of course, how could I forget?
If anyone remembers from previous podcasts, we've had the Rustler on. So the Rustler was the man who organised the Eurovision quiz. Surprisingly enough, you wouldn't expect him to be a big Eurovision fan, but he really is. And he smashed it with the quiz as well, to be fair. It was very good.
Yeah, there's a few like technical difficulties, but we kind of came out, we overcame them. So, but no, that was great from that was. And we all had to like dress as a particular country. I came as Ireland. My mum was very, very poor.
No, it's all right, Dan.
But yours was, what were you again? I can't remember. I remember it being good.
I was Italy. So I have already a Roman shield because I live quite near Hadrian's Wall. So there's a lot of forts along there. When I was a kid, we used to go, and I wanted a shield. So I had a shield and sword. Drew myself some chainmail. I made a little wreath for my head, and I also constructed a part of Hadrian's Wall out of toilet rolls.
It's pretty impressive. It's pretty good.
Thank you. I mean, what was yours, Dan? You had a green bib and a green hat. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was Ireland, and that was literally a green bib. That wasn't mine and isn't mine. And I'm not sure who it actually is. Who's going to claim that? I don't know.
The bib.
Especially now a lot of us aren't returning to our house.
Yeah.
So we have to vacate our house the other day, and a lot of people won't be returning because we've been given the all clear in terms of not to clean because of coronavirus, which is pretty good. But because not everyone's returning, I imagine there'll be quite a few decorations and stuff in the living room that people won't claim. So
yeah, it's sad that we're having to like divide up communal items that have such sentimental meaning, or in some cases literally no sentimental meaning, like a bib. But it's like, who wants these random things? Some things I'm like, yeah, I mean, nice memories. The bib less so, but
I mean who found? So we had a coat that was hanging up on the wall on like a notice board for a long time, and did someone pick it up in a gay club or something?
I think, yeah. I don't know exactly who it was, but I remember they wore it home. They found it probably mashed and covered in alcohol on the floor.
Yeah.
Thought it was a great idea to pick it up and wear it home.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah. All the alcohol's probably dried out of it by now. It's like evaporated.
Yeah, and now my mum's now claimed the coat. She loves it. Like, yeah.
That's amazing. That's so. I mean, at least we're making use of it, you know. So
I kind of feel like we've had it here for over a year. Like no one's claimed it. Like no one wants it. I might as well like go to my mum rather than going to the tip. She's like, oh yeah, it's a lovely coat that is. So she's now wearing it. So
that's good. It's not a bad label as well, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure.
It's all right. Yeah, not too bad. So yeah, but I don't know. Like there's been. I think I found doing my exam work during lockdown was really difficult because I don't think I work particularly well at home.
Yeah.
And so I found actually working in Selly Oak in Birmingham near the university where we were in lockdown. I found that really difficult, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be quite lenient in terms of marketing and stuff, but you know.
Yeah. I'm the same though. It was just hard to motivate because I was at home when I was doing it, and I'm just not used to working here. I'm used to switching off and relaxing. And frankly, when you've got a dissertation to finish and an exam to do, that is not the right mindset to have.
Yeah.
But, you know, we got through it. We finished.
We got through it. Yeah. We got them. Then we got results day, hopefully sometime near the end of June. But who knows?
God, I'm almost apprehensive is the right word to use because I want to know the results, but I'm also fearing the worst, really.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get mangled whether I do really well or really badly. So, I don't know. I don't know. It's so difficult. I think I'll be happy with whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll
I
see.
just it's I'm worried about the people who need a grade to get somewhere, and
Yeah,
if they don't get it, then their whole plan just falls apart.
yeah,
And there's
totally.
no one
Yeah.
in particular I'm worried about. It's just like, what if that happens? You know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I think it's. I mean, like, it probably happens to quite a few people every year, but I don't know.
I know, but I don't want it to be one of my friends because I just
No.
really want
Yeah.
them all to do well. Obviously, I'm sure you do
Hopefully,
too.
yeah. And then at some point we'll be having a virtual graduation, won't we?
We
So
will.
our university announced that we will have like a proper like ceremony or like a celebration or whatever with our great VC David Eastwood in is that in March sometime, I believe March.
Yeah, March
Um,
2021.
but in the meantime, we'll have a virtual graduation, which sounds bloody awful, but pretty quite
Well,
funny.
as far as I can tell, and what I've been told about graduations in the past, is a lot of sitting around, a lot of clapping, and a lot of boredom. And as far as I can tell, the virtual graduation is just going to be all of the boring stuff and none of the fun stuff.
Yeah,
We'll just
well,
sit there watching a stream. Oh, I mean, I have no idea.
I mean, surely they won't like read people's names out. Like it'd just be like a kind of like, well done to the cohort of whatever, and then kind of and
Do you think?
I don't know because how will it be like by school or by like degree? I don't know how it
But
work.
I was under the impression that maybe they'd have different days for different schools, and then they would read each person's name out.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
That
otherwise you'd be done quite quickly if you just went, right, everyone who did history, well done. Everyone who did politics, well done. Everyone who did biology, well done. It wouldn't as be the same really.
David Eastwood's gonna be so busy, isn't he? Like he's gonna be.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird one. Well, they did
Yeah.
one in this. I know someone did a virtual graduation with Roblox. Um, and I know they also did a graduation in Japan, I think, where they had like robots with tablets, so you could see it was like an iPad streaming, and you went up as an iPad, collected
Right.
whatever, and then your robot took you away.
Oh no, that'd be so
I still,
boring to watch. Like having to
there's no
like.
way Birmingham are going to invest any sort of money into it. It'll be as
Oh
cheap
no
as
way.
possible.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do would possibly to so that, like our friends within the history course, like is basically have a group chat with them or have a like a Zoom chat, and just kind of like watch it together and take the piss and
Yeah,
stuff. That's probably the best way to get through it. But I'm looking forward to having like the ceremony in whatever form in March. It'd be nice like for people who we've not been able to say goodbye to properly coming back and stuff. So that'd be good.
definitely. And now that will be good. It's something to look forward to as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, that should be good.
Definitely. Um, so Dan, I've only recently, well, I'll say recently, in the past couple of weeks, recovered from my own COVID-19 experience.
But what was that?
Um,
10 weeks ago? Was that? Or
it was quite a few weeks ago when it happened.
yeah,
I was
it feels like
pretty early
years
on
ago.
in the crisis.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
Um, but I mean, obviously, I haven't been tested, so I don't know for sure that I had it. But the symptoms are all
Right.
there. Dan,
Yeah.
we don't like COVID skeptics here. Come on. I'm pretty confident I had it. And I went into self isolation in the university house, and it was a really bizarre experience. I mean, being ill at uni is never fun as it is, but having to isolate from your own house and friends, oh, it was really weird. I watched a lot of Netflix, and I
Yeah.
did a lot of just sleeping because it
I just
really
feel
did.
very, very sorry for you.
It was
Like,
very sad.
yeah, I remember just like hearing you through a door. It's like, oh, what have been doing? Just watching another repeat of Newcastle. It's like, oh, great.
Yeah, that was literally the highlight of my weekend because Newcastle would do a stream of a game that happened 10 years ago. And I'd sit there watching the whole 90 minutes quite happily.
Yeah,
And then I'd probably fall asleep after that. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people have had COVID-19 at this point, but it's a horrible experience. I was not well at
yeah.
all.
I feel like I think you're the only person I know who like probably had it. I don't know. There's some people in our house who like have had various symptoms who may have had it but less severely. But
Yeah.
I don't actually know. Like, surprisingly, I don't know that many people who've actually had it or haven't had like it badly.
Yeah. Well, I heard that our age group are the most likely to be carriers with asymptomatic.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that most people,
Mm.
like most of our house at least, could have had it, and thankfully not shown any symptoms or given it to any family members. So
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, Dan,
I had a bit of a cough, but I don't think that was.
I
I think
was.
like it's a collection of like getting food stuck down the wrong hole and then like having a bit of a gravelly throat. But I don't think it was. Maybe it was, but I don't know.
Who knows? I think
Mm.
I was so paranoid on the Monday because I had a slight cough and I was like I was telling my housemates like, oh my god, what if I have it? What if I have it? And then the day after, I was literally barely get out of bed. I was like, I think I've got it, you know. Um,
It was psychologically induced, Matt. You got to admit.
I refuse to believe that. But I think also when we look back on it, I'll be able to say, you know what, I had a virus that caused a global pandemic.
Great, great. What a bragging point. Thing to tell the grandchildren.
It's not much of a claim to fame given that a lot of people have had it.
Yeah.
And also it's a horrific virus that has killed people, so it's really nothing to be pleased about. But
No, not really. But well, you know, you went through the bad part of being stuck in your room, so I guess you deserve to brag about it now. So
I'm looking for sympathy basically.
yeah.
That's why I asked to tell the story, because I just want people to feel sorry for me. No, that's not true. I was
Right.
quite lucky really, and I'm fine. So
That sounds good. So with coronavirus, I've had a lot of time on my hands, and sure you have too, to get through quite a few books and a few films and different television series. So what have you been watching, listening, reading?
yeah, I mean, honestly, loads of time for this sort of stuff. I've really been dredging some places in terms of the quality of stuff I've been watching, but I have to recommend a book, and I feel like I'm way behind the curve because everyone has recommended it to me. So this recommendation probably means nothing to most people, but I read Normal People. Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it. Yeah, I've not watched it or read
It's
the book.
by Sally Rooney, and
Mm,
honestly, I cannot stop raving about it. It was so good.
mm,
Um, it's about two teenagers who are going to uni and their kind of romantic life, and it kind of really paves a nice path of anxiety
mm.
and just it's just so well written. It really is very thought provoking, and I really enjoyed it. So I would recommend that, and also apparently the TV series of Normal People on BBC, I think, is also highly acclaimed.
Yeah.
I've not watched it, and I've heard that it's not as similar to the book as I'd
Mm.
like it to be. So whether I'll watch it or not, I don't know, but I can definitely recommend the book.
Because wasn't the TV series on like BBC Three a few years ago, and then it kind of it's been moved and repeated on BBC One or something?
Really, I didn't know that.
I
Well,
could be I could be entirely wrong, but I think that's right. So
well, it's gone down a storm as far as I can tell. Everyone's talking
yeah,
about it.
yeah, that's
Um,
it. Like I think like it's if you're like a TV producer, like it's a perfect time like for you because you've been able to release
oh
like
yeah,
TV series with great audiences because everyone's been stuck at home. So
it makes your TV show look really popular, doesn't it? Because they've
yeah,
got nothing
exactly.
else on
Yeah,
their
and also
hands.
a lot of Netflix as well. Like the amount of people who have like
Yeah,
started rubbing to Netflix during lockdown is just insane.
they've made their
Um,
profits and their shares have gone up so much. It's
yeah,
really
like
crazy.
I think it's like B&M and Netflix like been the best like benefactors to
That's brilliant.
beneficiaries of coronavirus. Just insane. But
It is.
have
I'm a
you?
bit begrudging for them to be as successful as they are, but I guess they provide a good service for us. So
Yeah. So I've kind of watched two films and one series. So all three are on Netflix. But the first film I've watched is Black 47, which is a film from 2018. It's about the Great Famine in Ireland. It's quite a grim, violent film, but it's so good. Like I really
yeah,
do recommend it. And it's directed by Lance Daly. Features Jim Broadbent. But no, it's a really good film.
yeah.
As I say, like you probably watch parts of it kind of through kind of some bits are quite horrific.
Yeah, I'm quite the squeamish type in terms of films
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, it's quite gory in parts.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind.
second film I've seen is Mrs. Lowry and Son from 2019. I had quite low expectations. I thought it might be quite boring. And it's about the famous Salford painter L.S. Lowry.
Oh yeah.
Actually, really good. And I really, really enjoyed it. Vanessa Redgrave plays Mrs. Lowry, Lowry's mother, and she's brilliant. Like she's so horrible and vindictive and just like disgusting. Like, but she plays the role brilliantly. Um, and
Dan, quickly, sorry to interrupt, but I've got a fun fact about Lowry.
go for it.
So my mum works in a little church on the quayside in Newcastle,
Right.
and that church features in one of Lowry's famous paintings.
Really? Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool. That's good. And then I think there's only kind of one thing I didn't like about the film, and that was the fact that they kind of cut to the Lowry Centre in Salford, near where he lived,
Yeah.
at the end, and they kind of had him, the actor playing Lowry, Timothy Spall, and sitting in the gallery, and it was a bit naff, like the ending was, and like it kind of took away from the kind of like grim kind of realism of the film almost. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
it just kind of took away from the film slightly, but as a whole, like the film was really good.
That's
I
good.
know I'm gone on a bit, but I've got a final Netflix recommendation, which is Medici, which is they've got 3 series out on Netflix. I saw the first series in first year of university when we kind of started learning about early modern history, and I was like, okay, right, I want to watch, something about kind of early modern history, and
Yeah.
it's about an influential Florentine banking family, the Medicis, kind of in the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries, and it's really, really good. The second series, which is the one I'm up to, came out in 2018, and kind of a bit disappointed because Richard Madden was brilliant in the first series, and then he doesn't
Yeah.
actually feature beyond the first series. Um,
Um,
but it's got Bradley James, Sean Bean, and it's the third series is also on Netflix currently, and it's so good. Like
really.
the drama, it doesn't seem that kind of historically accurate, but it's still really, really good. Um, so yeah, no, it's pretty good.
That's good. How do they compare to the podcast's very famous Papi Chulo reference?
I mean,
How,
compared to Papichulo, it's not good. I mean, nothing compares to Papichulo really.
that was a
Papichulo's
film a bit above every other film, really.
Papichulo is better than Titanic. It's better than why it didn't win more awards, I do not know. Just that's the homophobia of society, obviously, isn't it? So,
Yeah,
but
I
no.
guess so.
No, Papichulo is a perennial family favourite, so do watch that if you can. That's also on Netflix.
We're doing Netflix a world of good with these recommendations, Dan. A lot
I
of them.
know, right? So I've got my final recommendation, and then I promise not to let you speak a bit more. I've read a book called Goat Days by Benjamin, which is a 2008 novel translated into English 4 years later. In 2012. Originally written in, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but you might be able to correct me. Uh, Malayalam, which is an Indian language. Just I feel bad because it shows my ignorance, but
I'm
uh,
not going to try and embarrass myself by trying to do that any
okay,
better than you, Dan. That was good.
yeah, okay, and it's about a migrant worker from Kerala in India who goes and works in Saudi Arabia, becomes a shepherd, and it's based on a true life story and he's one of I think it's about 4 million migrant workers from India who work in Saudi Arabia. And it's called they work under a system called the kafala system, which operates like throughout the Gulf states. And I didn't know this, like I was surprised like it's not more common knowledge, or I don't believe it is common knowledge. But
Yeah.
basically, it's because most of the Gulf states, a lot of their labor is migrant workers, and they operate a system where each migrant worker has to have a sponsor who then controls when they can and when they can enter, and then when they can leave the country. So they
Right.
can actually deny their workers leaving the country, so they can confiscate passports, which they do like on most occasions, and stop their own workers from leaving the country. Which, like, as you can imagine, like basically means that they can abuse the workers as much as they like, and like
Yeah.
there's a load of people from really poor parts of the world who go and work in Saudi Arabia, and not just Saudi Arabia, the whole of the Gulf, who are abused in the most awful situations. And like the labor law is really poor there. Like if you look at as well, obviously ever important, ever like relevant, Qatar, the World Cup. Like if you look at the amount of migrant workers working on the infrastructure for the
Yeah.
World Cup and their treatment as well, and a lot of it I think just goes unheard. Like I don't know, I think I thought I was pretty clued up on human rights, but the fact that so many human rights violations are going on, and it's something like 23 million migrant workers in the Gulf states, and like apparently, I mean, Amnesty International have said that with coronavirus, like it's been particularly tough because they just have not been able to access the most basic healthcare and sanitary needs, and yeah, but no, like the actual book itself is really, really good. It's really informative. It's amazingly well written, and you can buy it
Yeah.
secondhand on Books for £1.59 or first hand on Amazon for £9.99. So yeah, that's my spiel finished.
No, that's fine. That sounds really interesting. I think it sounds like I need to read that as well because there are some things I clearly don't know. Obviously, the Qatar World Cup represents everything that's wrong with FIFA, and obviously a lot what is wrong with human rights and workers' rights in the region. I still can't believe that they're even thinking about playing football in that World Cup, but that's probably a debate for another day, I think.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
But in footballing news, something that is quite contentious, but is also quite celebrated where I am. Newcastle United are looking like they're going to have a multi-billion takeover of the club from Mike Ashley. It's quoted to be about 300 million, and the Amanda Staveley, Reuben Brothers, PIF, Saudi Arabia consortium is trying to take over Newcastle, and it would become, Dan, the richest football club in the world. Little old Newcastle United, the richest football club in the world. And we thought we'd use this contentious issue as the POVVV section of the podcast.
Yes.
Our classic original listeners will remember this segment. It basically means the point of view.
Yes.
And Dan, do you want to start? Put forward your argument against the takeover?
Yeah, I don't want to kind of dwell on too much the horrific human rights abuses within Saudi Arabia. I just want to kind of point out some of the facts about how and why they're taking it over. I mean, like first of all, the Public Investment Fund is the sovereign fund of Saudi Arabia. It will basically mean that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will be effectively the club chairman. Just obviously appalling record when it comes to gay rights, when it comes to women's rights, when it comes to migrant rights, as I've just talked about the case of migrant workers. And I just really want to know that will the fans, LGBT fans, female fans, migrant fans, decent, Newcastle fans, welcome the new owners with open arms? I don't know. Like, will they be? I hope they'll be a bit more decent and actually stand up to their club. Basically, I think being used to whitewash and to cover up, to improve the image of a state that kills its own citizens and kills the citizens of people overseas in Yemen. And I know football is a game, but I think these things are important, especially when a country which tortures, which murders gay people, its own gay citizens. And why is it doing this? why is it being able to invest in UK football and to actually own a club and benefit from, the good reputation of the English Premier League and cover up and not, be exposed for the quite evil, atrocious things that they do?
Well, you do make a very convincing case, Dan. Um, can I come back now?
Go for it.
So obviously, I can't deny the horrific human rights issues that surround the takeover. And also, I should add, I really can't speak on behalf of Newcastle fans. I can't speak on behalf of any of the minority fans you mentioned, like the gay fans and the migrant fans, the women fans. And honestly, like, it is a very contentious debate in Newcastle. But I would say that most of the fans will welcome the takeover.
Mm.
And I don't know if you can put that down to naivety or simply just wanting to keep politics out of football,
Yeah.
because this is a working class community who
Yeah.
we go each week looking forward to the
Mm.
weekend where Newcastle United play. It is a
Yeah.
dominating feature in the life of Newcastle. And I know that a lot of people will make the same claim for their club, and that might well be true. Doesn't make us particularly different, but you can't ask people to stop supporting their football club. Just
Totally. Yeah. I
um,
yeah, I entirely agree with that.
and for the last 13 years, we've had an owner who, and I'm not even going to dare to compare Mike Ashley to Saudi Arabia because they are not on the same level.
Mm.
Obviously, we don't like Mike Ashley for many workers' rights, general well-being of his workers.
Mm.
There's a lot of queries there as well, but they're not comparable. But the last 13 years of my being a fan of this club has basically been political. We've boycotted. I've not bought a shirt in years. All
Mm.
these things, it's taken the love out of the club because there's been a
Yes.
lack of footballing ambition.
Yeah.
And someone's come along, Dan, and frankly, I don't think Newcastle fans care who it is.
Mm.
And they've said, we've got the opportunity here to make you a successful football club.
Mm.
We're going to make sure that every Saturday you're going to see a team that tries. You're going to see a team that wins.
Mm.
And frankly, that will make a lot of people very happy.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really excuse the whitewashing or the sports washing it's being called,
Mm.
because it doesn't. And I know that this is a bad thing from a moral side, but the reality is I'm going to keep supporting Newcastle United.
Mm. Yeah, of course. Like, obviously, people have continued to support Newcastle throughout the Ashley years, and he was awful. And I think the reason why Newcastle fans haven't questioned it to the degree they should have, I don't think, is because they've had an awful owner for so many years, and they're just desperate to get a new owner. I completely sympathise with them, but at the end of the day, this is a massive takeover. This is a huge intervention of a foreign state within the Premier League. And I think that the FA have a duty to, uphold the greatness, I guess. They have a duty to uphold the greatness and the reputation of the Premier League and
Yeah,
not let it become a pawn for foreign governments to come in and basically use it to improve their image.
I do see where you're coming from.
Yeah, Jamal Khashoggi, the head of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, has now taken full responsibility for the Khashoggi murder, and it doesn't hide the fact that it treats people within its own country and outside its own country really, really appallingly. And I think
Yeah,
it is definitely comparable to any other totalitarian states taking over a football club, be it North Korea, be it Mugabe's Zimbabwe, or Putin's
yeah,
Russia. And
of
maybe,
course,
I
yeah,
don't know if people, Saudi Arabia already been successful in whitewashing their crimes against humanity. Are people not aware of quite how bad they are? Um, and I'm fearful because obviously I've seen it with Leicester. Like, people often defend their owners to the to the high hill. Like they if someone's investing in the club and they're doing well, they're going to defend their owners, and people are
Yeah.
defending their owners without knowing quite how bad the situation in Saudi Arabia is and the
Yeah.
responsibility of the people who will take over the club. And also, I mean, I think there's many moral reasons why you would not want to give money to Mike Ashley, and I think that same moral dilemma is it's exemplified tenfold with Saudi Arabia, and yeah, I don't know. I find it really difficult because I often heard, or I often saw on Twitter Newcastle fans complaining about how bad Mike Ashley was in terms of how bad he treated Sports Direct staff, how the ground became basically just a Sports Direct advertisement
Yeah.
billboard, and the same criticisms should be made about Saudi Arabia. And I just because they've got
Yeah.
money behind them and they're willing to invest, they're not being made. And I think there's a certain amount of hypocrisy there.
Yeah. I agree on a lot of those points, but I do think that you're right. If they come in and they bring success and they bring Rafa Benitez back and they bring footballing success back to Newcastle
Yeah.
and invest in the region, people will happily turn a blind eye to the horrific acts that they represent.
Mm.
And I think, I don't think that's fair to tarnish the whole fan base with that same brush,
Yeah.
because a lot of fans
Yeah.
are saying like, well, hold on, what about the moral responsibility here? But
Mm.
I think there's a couple of things. So there obviously is this chance that the Premier League does reject the takeover still
Mm.
on moral grounds, but for some reason I've been seeing in the media that it seems more likely it's going to be rejected based on piracy issues with certain companies and Saudi Arabia's involvement in that. And
Yeah, I've seen
personally,
this as
I don't
well.
think
Yeah.
that if it gets rejected, I would not. It should be for the human rights issues, because
Mm.
that's obviously the bigger issue there.
Yeah.
But I think we have to remember, and a lot of Newcastle fans will point to this hypocrisy within the country,
Mm.
that Saudi Arabia already has its claws firmly ingrained in America, in Britain. So I don't know if you know, Dan, but Manchester United is part owned by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia already have shares in a Premier League club. And a
Mm.
lot of Newcastle fans have been pointing out, and fairly rightly, why wasn't there a scandal raised when Man United was bought
Mm.
by Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Because Newcastle United has been slaughtered in the mainstream media for this
Mm.
takeover.
Yeah.
And I know from my perspective, I didn't hear anything about it when it was Man United.
Mm. Yeah.
And, you know, our country, the British government, trades with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Facebook, part owned by Saudi Arabia. Uber, part owned by Saudi Arabia. We're talking about they've already got a monopoly on a
Mm.
lot of these things.
But I mean, these are all things that I think you'd condemn, though, aren't they?
Oh, 100%, yeah. But the
But you won't
point
condemn
that
them taking
you're
over your football
making
club.
is that why is that okay and Newcastle takeover isn't?
But I don't think they are okay. I mean, the thing
I
is,
know,
yeah,
I know that.
I totally agree. There's definitely media bias, and there's people haven't actually. There hasn't been a long-term movement against Saudi investments within major corporations within the UK and
Yeah,
within sport in the UK. But then again, when do you stop the tide? Like, when do you actually impose
yeah.
standards? I think
I don't think.
now is high time to do that.
Yeah, it's not really an argument that defends the takeover by saying, well, hold on, let's look at every other part of Saudi Arabia that's already invested. It
Yeah.
doesn't really hold up, because it's not an excuse for doing something further bad.
Mm.
That's worse.
Mm.
But from my personal perspective, obviously I oppose Saudi Arabia and I oppose their awful human rights violations. But what can I do as a football fan? I think
Mm.
as a Newcastle fan and as the fan base, we are very powerless in
Mm.
this. We tried
Yeah.
for a good 10 years of the 13 Mike Ashley years to get him out. It did
Mm.
absolutely no good. And we're talking about basically a small city of about 250,000 people. Obviously, globally, Newcastle has a lot more fans, as I like to spout on about.
Mm,
But what we can do to
yeah.
oppose a country taking over our club is
Mm.
zilch. It's very
Okay.
little.
Yeah, I mean, the fan base itself, yes, I totally agree. But the FA, the people who control the
I think
major football
just
league in the world, like, they have to
I
be
think
able to show their muscle and show a bit of moral backbone and
yeah.
and act on this one. I mean,
I think, Dan, that the decision's down to the Premier League rather than the FA. I don't know if the FA
sorry,
get any
yeah,
say, but
yes,
yeah, the point still stands.
yeah, exactly, yeah, sorry, yeah. I'll do my research a bit better next time. But
No, that's all right. I've been very impressed. You've wheeled off some good knowledge.
no, you too. I mean, is this an argument for fan representation on the boards of football clubs?
Oh, 100%. Um, I've been watching a lot of Bundesliga football since that's come back in lockdown, and it's been a weird experience with no fans. But the German model for clubs is fantastic. They basically have 50% fan owned, and then an individual can only ever own 50% of a football club,
Mm,
which means basically the football club remains in the ownership of the fans, um, which I think is a great model. It's not going to happen in the Premier League because billionaires very much have their stake in the Premier League clubs and they are not going to let that go. But I think it is. I would support that.
yeah, I mean, it's been an idea that's been floating for a while, hasn't it? So, but no, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm a big fan of cooperatives and worker or fan representation on boards. But yeah, no, I think
yeah,
it's an interesting idea, and it might, be a way to kind of curtail the corporate influence over sport. But I guess it's inevitable, isn't it?
yeah,
In some
definitely.
regards, but no, it's interesting. I totally sympathise with the view of Newcastle fans because obviously the club comes first, the football comes first, and it's a difficult one, especially when you see hypocrisy from people not complaining about other clubs and other businesses. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day, it's about, for me, it's about kind of taking a stand, isn't it? And realizing and not letting your club become a kind of a pawn or a kind of cover
yeah.
for human rights abuses. But
It is such a moral conflict that I've been battling with.
yeah,
Um, but I'm not going to boycott the club. I'll be
mm,
honest. I'm still going to support it. And
yeah,
if we go on to win many Premier League trophies, Dan, I'm not going to lie, I will be pretty happy. Um, I've got a Newcastle Brown Ale waiting for the day that the announcement is made. Whether that'll be taken the sip with a bit of
yeah.
sadness or
I,
whether it'll be more happiness, I don't know. It's
I,
still something I'm kind of dealing with.
I really hope for your sake that either the two other partners in the deal have kind of pushed Saudi Arabia out by that point, or you have new buyers who are equally rich and equally willing to invest. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's hope, last minute hope.
We'll have to see, really. It's out.
You'll have to,
It's
yeah. But
firmly out of my hands, firmly out of
yeah,
everyone's hands. Really, it's in the Premier League hands.
I mean,
Um,
I think, yeah. The point is that a lot of the people campaigning against the takeover by the Saudi investment fund aren't doing it because they want Newcastle to languish with Mike Ashley. It's because about the actual
yeah,
state of Saudi Arabia. But no, I'm entirely sympathetic to your view. But
thank you.
anyway,
That was a very good POVVV.
I think it was, yeah, I think one of our best there actually.
It was very like detailed debate. I think
I think so.
because both
Yeah,
of us are so passionate about the areas.
totally. Yes. Yeah. Again, also, I think like we should like point out that I'm not anti Saudi Arabian people. It's more the fact that I'm anti what the state does to the people.
Oh, 100%.
So
You're on the
yeah,
side of the people, if
of
anything,
course,
really.
yeah, definitely. But
They are an oppressed people, in our opinion. Well, my
yeah,
opinion,
yeah.
anyways. Um,
Anyway,
yeah.
last but not least, it's been quite a long podcast, I think, but it's been fun so far. So uh,
Um,
far away.
yeah. Well, today on the day of recording, which is Friday, the 5th of June, is World Environment Day. So I want to
Yay!
wish all of the listeners and you yourself, Dan, a very happy World Environment Day.
You too, Matt. You too.
Thank you. What it actually represents, I don't know. But I think it's a good thing to celebrate the planet.
Mm,
And I think I don't want to go too political again, but the way we respond to post-COVID world and how we rebuild our economy, this is a fantastic opportunity to rebuild in terms of a sustainable and environmentally focused economy. It's a real opportunity that I really hope we take. I don't know if we will.
Yeah.
I really don't think that's the priorities of our government or the American government. But we can protest, we can hope. So yeah,
Yeah,
today's a day of
definitely. Yeah.
thinking about the environment, and yeah.
I don't know, like, have you found yourself kind of experiencing the environment more? Have you kind of gone for like more walks or more kind of cycle rides like during lockdown? Because I know after exams were all finished in Birmingham, like both me and Andrew, we both spent a long time kind of, going for walks and visiting areas which we
Yeah,
haven't been to before.
that's really good. I mean, from my perspective, I've probably been on more cycle rides, but I've kind of done the same amount of outside activity that I would do anyway.
Fair.
So I've always
Okay.
been quite keen on running, so it's just
Yeah.
what I do anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
nice.
I have to say though, Dan, I'm missing team sport big time. I
Really.
miss golf ball. If you want to know about golf ball, I think it's one of the earlier podcasts you'll have to listen to.
Yeah, let's feel like, is it the first podcast? It's quite early on, isn't it? Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, I talk about it a lot, so it's probably in a
yeah.
few podcasts. I miss football. I miss just playing sport with a team. I really do
Mm.
miss it.
Yeah. No, no. I don't miss team sport because I've never played any. But
But
do you miss park runs as well?
oh, of course, yeah. I get an email from Parkrun every Saturday morning saying, "This is not your Parkrun results email." I just think, oh, if only it
No.
was. If only I
Yeah.
had gone out at 9 a.m. on a Saturday and ran 5K.
Horrible. Yeah.
I do appreciate the line on a Saturday morning, though.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
nice,
I bet.
definitely.
Yeah. We got that park run at some point too, haven't we? So that'd be fun.
Yeah. So
Your
for my
birthday.
birthday, my flatmates kindly gave me a token, which I keep close by me at all times, which says that they will all come on a parkrun with me. And Dan, I have to say you've been quite
I did consent to that. No one ever asked me. But no. I'm willing to do it, I guess. I'll have
you're
to
not
like.
going to go to the end and have a tea.
I'll have to. I feel a bit of a dick for doing that. To be fair, even if I do it really slowly, I'm best to do it rather than not do it all. I guess.
Some people walk it down. Honestly, like
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
I'll have to. I've got a whole summer now to like do a bit of training, so I feel
Yeah,
I
plenty of
would feel
time.
bad if I was if I refused to take part. So, but we'll
As well,
see.
it makes me chuckle slightly at the fact that on the voucher that I've been given with their names that they promised to come on a parkrun with me, it does say that you're allowed to refuse in the case of a coronavirus scare. And this was made in February, so this was a long-term prediction that
Yeah,
coronavirus was going to
yeah,
come and get us.
yeah. That was
And
prophetic.
it seems like a very good excuse now, especially since there are no parkruns to run.
Yeah.
So you've got out of it for a while at least, Dan.
Oh, yeah. I'm very, very glad. Maybe kind of October, November time. I have to see, but I imagine
It
it's
does,
I don't know how easy it is for them to actually like kind of social distance because I know when you're running, it's supposedly like the kind of whatever it is, like the kind of you're more likely to spread it while running or doing exercise rather than just walking.
yeah. Um, I think that there are some parkruns where it's hundreds of people all in quite a small space at the start,
Yeah.
and then you run, and then you're quite close to people. It's a long way off, I think, before we
Okay.
see proper parkruns back. But you'll be glad to know, Dan, the voucher says that it expires never. So I will hold you to it eventually.
No. Oh god. Okay.
Eventually.
Hopefully Parkrun will fold before I can do it. So
Oh, Dan, you can't say that. You can't say that.
it's massive, isn't it? Parkrun is so. Seems
Yeah, it's
unlikely.
huge. Very big.
Anyway, it's been great talking to everyone, and it's been great talking to you, Matt.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
know
been
what I
our
said. So
first
yeah,
ever virtual
yeah,
podcast. How crazy is that?
yeah. Hopefully one of many. I'll
Yeah,
see
well,
that together in September, October, hopefully, but we'll have to see.
yeah, we never really did apologize for the massive gap of absence that the podcast has had.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah,
We are talking like a major gap between the previous one. I don't even remember when the last. It was the
It's about
Christmas special, wasn't it?
yeah. It's been about half a year, I think. I don't get.
Oh
It
wow!
doesn't seem like it's been that. It's been. I think like the final like couple of semesters at university went so quickly.
It
But
did,
yeah,
yeah. We were so busy.
it does not
Um,
feel like it was half a year ago. But who
it
knows?
really
It
doesn't.
has been,
But
yeah.
hopefully, we're back for a good sustained spell.
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully,
But yeah, it was very nice to talk to you, Dan, as always.
you too, Matt, and hopefully we can speak next week.
Yes, sounds good. Wishing
Yes.
everyone, all the listeners, well. Hope
Yeah.
everyone's doing okay.
Stay safe, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
I think that went quite well. Yeah.
Dan, it says it's still recording to me.